Good afternoon, Market Chameleons, and everyone joining us for the first time. Thanks for coming by and watching the Market Chameleon and Options Robot After Hours show with Ryan Mastro. Before we get started, let's take a look at the shared disclaimer. Please be aware that neither Market Chameleon, Ryan, or myself are registered investment advisors or a broker-dealer. If you're searching for investment advice, please reach out to a licensed professional. This show, as all our shows, is for informational purposes only concerning Market Chameleon tools and products. With that, one last look at the disclaimer, and let's welcome Ryan to the show. How you doing, Ryan? Ryan, I think you're on mute, my friend.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm doing well.
Hey, good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Let me share your screen real quick.
There
you go. And it's the Market Chameleon pretty landing page.
Yeah.
What do you got for us today?
Well, I mean, look, today was the first day we've had since I guess last Tuesday where we had a pretty good up day in terms of the market. I mean, Bitcoin rallied very well. So I mean, we can get into that. I'll just do a quick look on that. You go over to BTC, you get the iShares, the Grayscale Trust. You can see that this thing finally started to put together. I mean, we've been using this as a kind of a gauge for speculation. And I think you started to see some of that speculation come back in today. So we saw Ethereum, you go to ETH or ETHA, there's a bunch of them. That had a little bit of a pop here this morning as well. You look at like a XRPI, that jumped. You had Solana, which I think there's a couple ones of these as well. So you could do Solana, another ETF. So a lot of these names associated with your crypto jumping. Coinbase obviously had a good day. MicroStrategies did okay, right? Jumped a little bit. Even a hood popped a little bit after not even being available this morning. I heard that was completely down. So, they didn't basically bash that for just being reliant on AWS and couldn't get access to your product. So that did okay, right? It's gapped up and was able to hold the gap. So that's a good sign. I would say a couple of the names that I was surprised that did not fare well. A lot of the quantum names like QUBT, QBTS, an IONQ, these have all basically just gotten rocked especially over the past couple of days. We were riding the Rigetti RGTI in one of my services, and thankfully we got out on this day, just starting to see some really high implied volatility and the drop off. So those names were somewhat weak. But what has done well? Your tech. You look at Google. That was a breakout today. Broke out, made a new high today. Apple, brand new all-time high. Market cap's insane now, just behind. I think it's the second largest market cap behind Nvidia. So this thing is on fire. So I think it's a matter of playing what's in front of you, especially in the near short term. If you look at your Qs, you can see that we're right back up to close to the all-time highs in this thing, even after a kind of lousy week. And Trump's tariff tantrum in terms of China, we've kind of washed that all under the rug. So as we're watching this market, I think we're going to be watching what's going on and really trying to trade what's in front of us, trying to trade the stocks that are highly correlated to the market at the moment. Don't play the ones like the quantum names if they just keep getting sold into. So I think if speculation does start to come back, it seems like they're really trying to rely on the big names to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So for that, something the other names I would look at, like an RSP, is just a good gauge of what they're coming in to buy. If they're coming in and buying the broader market, this is an equal weight ETF on the SPY. And it just gives you a good gauge. So if they're coming in and this is moving up in a big way along with the SPY, then that means they're pretty much buying everything across the board, right? So you would imagine IWM basically had that same type of pop, maybe not up to all-time highs, but looking pretty good. SPY and your SMH all doing very, very well. SMH sitting right here, kind of right at that resistance line. You can kind of see right at those recent highs and the closes up in there. So that all looks like pretty good. So for me, I would probably come back into our screeners, right? You can go to the stock screeners, you can go to the options, you can do your unusuals. I usually find a home around the unusual options to see if there's anything that really stands out to me in terms of names. I think a lot of this paper is speculation, again, trying to get some of these names starting to move. like this LAES, the USAR, the Barracks Gold, which is something we used to trade on the floor. I used to trade on the floor at least. American Battery Poet, like these have all been beaten down, right? And you look at something like Poet. Let's just take that one as an example. Poet has been really beaten down the last couple of days and trying to come back. So this is the start of them trying to get a rally going. So I'm not really anxious to jump into these. I'm probably going to be gearing more towards a broader market. Where is the volume going in the broader market? So if you go back up here to, let's say, your screeners and go to stocks, you get another kind of list of names with the highest volume, which I love. You know, this is one where I'm always trying to look for what is moving. And obviously at Google, I already talked about. Amazon on my radar. Meta's a little expensive. I mean, they're all a little expensive because implied volatility is up. Oracle was beaten down today. Am I going to jump in to buy that? No, I'm not really that anxious about it. I think it's down for a reason and people are selling back into it. You know, I look down through this list. Visa's going to have earnings and Netflix going to have earnings. Tesla's going to have earnings. So these are all names I probably won't touch. You know, I get asked this question all the time. How do you play Netflix for earnings? Well, again, Netflix for earnings is very, very expensive to trade. And you start to look at the straddles in here. And I'll give you a cool little way that we use the straddles. The straddle on, you know, anytime we look at the straddle, you can see we're like 1190, almost 100 points in terms of the straddle, right? So this yellow box is the width of the straddle. Well, I should say, what expiration is this? Let's see what that is. So that's October 31st next week. Let's look at that and see where we are. I'm actually going to trade option chains, Netflix, and our at the monies. It's going to automatically move me down the at the monies, that blue dot right there. So the at the monies right now, you're at about $90, right, for 1024. So for you to really trade this and buy a spread or buy a, again, I'm not going to go buy an at the money for $46 and say, okay, the stock's going up, right? Because again, there's so many different ways to lose on this. You have to beat the direction. So that means not only does the stock have to go up, you have to go up enough that you're going to be greater than $46. So that means you have to beat the volatility as well. And typically when you look at the implied volatility, this is going to drop off pretty quickly for any type of earnings, especially one that's got a couple of days to expire. So, you know, something like this, you're going from an 85 implied volatility, you'll probably be at something like, you know, probably 50 by let's say it's going to be Tuesday. So by Wednesday morning, they're going to open that up unless you really have extreme news and it's a very big move. Maybe they hold it up for a little bit longer, but you know, so that's not something I would play. If I'm going to play it, I'd probably play something like a call spread that mitigates my risk. So if I do like the upside, I'd probably play something like a call vertical. So buy the 1240 calls, sell something like maybe the 1280s. Right, for 27, you're looking at what, 40, call it 46, 40, call it 46 to, let's say, where did my 1280s go? Let's call it, again, $20 for a $40 move. Not really the numbers I like in terms of getting into a trade there. So I like to get a little better risk reward. So in order for me to do that, maybe I have to go further away and give myself more room for this to work. So maybe I go to the 1300s and it's only $21. So it'd be 41, it'd be what, $26 for $40 of movement. It's just still, it's not really my game there. Now you could get into, I don't think we have enough time to get into call butterflies or iron condors. I'm sorry, or condors, not iron condors, but condors, where you have a directional lean on those. Those can mitigate. I'd probably look at something like that for this scenario. Actually, let's just do a quick example because that's, I think, a cool idea for you guys. Let's just do a butterfly. And the platform I'm using here is to look at this stuff is OptionsRobot. You go to OptionsRobot.com if you want to play around with it. Let's see, find my long butterfly. I want to do a long call butterfly. So this is the example of a long call butterfly. I want to find, let's see, one of my longs, let's say that 1300, and we're currently right around here. So let's say in the middle, I'm going to move my short up to, let's say, right in here. So that gives me, I'm a little bit wider on the one side, so maybe I go up a little bit more. So this is giving me roughly my my butterfly. And when I start to look at this, it's costing me $2.87 for the option, which is not bad for the spread. So $2.87 to get into this spread. Again, I don't mind that, right? That's something I would probably look at. So that's a $30 wide butterfly, right? So I'm buying the 1240s, which is the at the monies. Now you could do this at the monies, get a little bit wider maybe. So maybe I do like a 1280 or maybe like a 1260, 1280, 1300, and I'm only spending 78 cents per. That's not bad, right, for me to get into this thing. So, you know, that's something that you want to look at, you know, maybe put that on your radar. I'm not going to put it in here as a trade because I'd have to really, you know, analyze this a little bit more, but something along those lines would be very, very interesting in terms of Netflix. Now, let's come back over here to our list and just work our way down. I liked Amazon today. I like Google, right? Google is probably one of my number ones. Let's just go back to that first and let's get a trade idea in here. So let's do Google. And you can see, you know, we are at an all-time high. So if we start to break out tomorrow, 257.33, I'm gonna go over to my simulate trade. And this is by far my number one. So let's just do a straight call. And you know what, let's do it on my trade over here. Let's do that and do my option chains. So let's do a straight call. And I like probably these 257s aren't bad. So let's use an entry bot. And we'll say Google, and we'll say greater than 257.33 was the high. And I'm going to buy an option. I'm going to buy those 257s. I'm going to buy one. And I'm going to say, let this thing go default. So that'll give me a price slicer in here that allows me to work the bid-ask spread once it goes above my trigger level. So I'll create that. And what that's going to do is now that I have this virtual position that is theoretically there, it's not, I don't have the order in, it hasn't gone live, it hasn't triggered yet. But what this allows me to do is build a template of trading bots to work my exit of the trade. So now what I may want to do is look at what my Google, and on the other screen, I have a Google ATR of about almost $6. So I could do, let's see, I want to do something like 3 rolls. I'm going to do this one over here. Now, what this doesn't have is stops. So I can go in and add stops in here. So I can do an or statement. So what this, let me just kind of explain what this does. So this gets me in. This is my 257. If I break above that level, here's the option I would go if it were to move up by $2, by option gaining $2. I would roll up and it would go to the at the monies. It would do it again if it rolled up by another $2. It would do it again, it rolled up by another $2. And then if it did it again, I would roll up and exit that trade. So basically $8 of movement, or I should say $16 of movement in the stock, roughly a $50 delta on the option. So I'm going to be working my way out of these trades on the at the monies and allowing this to continue to move. So each time I'm basically letting the stock move, you know, roughly $3.50, $4 to get me out of this trade and work my way out. Now I can put stops in this. All I have to do is add, and I could say if the option value loses, let's say the value gained since inception, I want to do the value lost since inception. Maybe I want to say something like 50%. So if it loses 50%, I just want to get out of the trade, and I'm going to do that as maybe a midpoint. All right, now I'm going to do it as a slow, and we'll hit create. All right, so what that's going to do is tell me, and it'll show it to you right in here. Now I have this template that's built in here. I've added a stop, and I can continue to add stops along here if I want to. I may want to do that once it starts to move, and then go and add stuff as I see, you know, tighten things up a little bit. Maybe on this one, maybe I only be at 40% or 30% or 20%, so I don't give a lot back. So this is now set up for me and, you know, ready to go, that if it does trigger tomorrow morning, it's going to be ready and hot to trot. So another one I would look at is probably the Amazon. Again, let's look at that chart. Had some negative news this morning, AMZN, and had some negative news this morning with obviously pretty much the internet was down this morning. I think there was several thousand different sites that were down, but quickly recovered and got back up. Stock didn't really, you know, take it. It took it in stride, I should say, in terms of moving back up. So it looks pretty good here. I like this. I think I'd want to see a little bit more movement out of this, maybe get back above, or maybe get back up to something like that open. That gets us back into this kind of consolidation over in here. So I kind of like this one. If I were to draw that, let me see, can I draw a rectangle? I think I can somehow. One of these allows me to do that. And this is, we use the trading view charting package in here. It's over here somewhere. I just don't want to go waste your time and look for it. But something like into this area, I think would be very interesting. Maybe it's use this high, something along those lines. So maybe I'm going to use that open. That open is 217.70 from our current price of what's our close right now? We're at 216.49. So that's not bad. 217.70. Again, I'd go over to an entry bot. Allow the system, because I don't want to have to sit here and use this. I don't want to have to sit here and be at my desk all day long, or if I'm looking at other opportunities, I don't want to have to come back and try to put this thing and time it perfectly. So this always helps me 217.70 with an entry bot, and quickly add 217. So I'll use the at the monies, buy. I'll do a quick on this one and hit create. Now again, I can go back to that same model. With Amazon, I have an ATR. The ATR is about 520 on that one. So I can use that same model, the same template, right, for $2. If my option goes up by more than $2, I have that group already set up. So you guys can see how quick this works and allows you to adjust this. Now, the cool thing about this is if you're getting close to a fill and you say, you know what, I don't want to roll, there's a couple different things you can do. You can go in here and just click the pause button. Say, you know what, I know I'm getting close. I can see the value increase, but I don't want to do it. Now I can quickly get out of it, just cancel it, right? If my bot hasn't triggered yet, or I can cancel the order, or you can just pause it and say, you know what, something's going on, something's really getting exciting in the market. I want to pause all my bot here. Or if you wanted to pause all of your bots, you can go over here and pause all bots, right? This will go in and pause all of your positions. Right? This is something you can't do in any other system, to go and pause all of your orders. So that is important, especially if you're getting distracted by work or other meetings or phone calls. You're like, something's going on. You see all your screen in red or green, and you want to pause your bots. That to me is one of the biggest things we've added that I just absolutely love, because it really it puts the power in your hands. And you can pause your entry bot. Say, all right, well, look, this is getting here, but the market's starting to roll over. I don't want to get into this. I'm just going to pause my entry bot, and it's just sitting there. It's waiting for you to say resume. So that's the power of using a bot. Obviously, using these bots to do the management for you. If these things start to run, right, I'm not going to be able to watch every different position that I have. That's why we created this, is that this will do all the work for you while you're sitting there watching multiple positions. Or if you're distracted and you have to work the day, you can have some of these orders in and allow this to work for you. So again, hopefully I think that is a good kind of walkthrough with a couple of ideas. Any questions there, Will?
Nothing's popped up yet, Ryan.
No? Great. Okay.
Actually, yeah, it's actually, that was a name. Jim is saying he's looking at I think CLF had earnings this morning. Yeah. It is on the unusual option activity. Is there a trade after earnings? Maybe just look at
so Cleveland Cliffs, and that was on unusual, I believe, because there was good volume that came in here, and that did have earnings. Stock was up. They liked it. Several other names were up along with it. So we go over the unusual options volume, and you can see Cleveland Cliffs right at the top here. Very big volume. Now, my only problem with something like this with earnings is the volume a close down, right? A lot of this is good volume, but is a lot of the volume closing because of the move that it had, right? So you probably want to do a little deeper dive into it. And what I would do is I would be going over the charts, right? Trying to figure out, is there something on the charts that I really like? So I've been watching this for a while, and you got to zoom out a little bit to really get back to where resistance is. And I think if it were to follow through, so I think you got to understand kind of the business this is in and maybe why this is done very well. Obviously, a mining company, and all of the miners have done very well, especially with gold and silver. And again, I think the copper's starting to go. Let me just do a quick cross check over here. Now, copper's still being held in check there a little bit, but obviously the numbers really here are strong, right? So they came out with really good reports. you're right up against resistance right in here, right? So I kind of like this area for a much bigger move to up to somewhere like this. So that's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. You're talking, you know, $18 to what, 16.30. Where did we close today? So we closed today at 16.14. So I definitely think there's some more room to run. What I like to do is draw horizontal lines on my screen. So I'll do this one, and I would just kind of drop that in there. I think that would go like that, right? In terms of, okay, that's near the high. So I think we could probably get, if we can get through the high of today, we could probably get another run to something like that. And then I'd probably look towards the high up there. So those couple levels, 1741, 1809, right? Those could be ones that if I do think this is going to continue to go, I would probably use something like that level right there as if I can get a good close above that 1646. So let's look at that one real quick as an entry bot. And let's say Cleveland Cliffs. And we're going to say greater than 16 point. I'm going to go a little bit higher than that level because I want it to get above there. So let's say 1655 versus that 46 area. I'd buy probably my, and let's see what strikes does it have. Does it have, no, it does not have 1650s. It has 16s and 17s. So I'd probably buy the in the money, right? Just because I'm not expecting a big move on this. If I'm only expecting a couple dollars because it's already had a big gap up. So I would probably keep this pretty tight and say if I buy that, let's say I'll buy it quickly and I'll put that in as a buy and then go over to my, and I probably want to do one roll and trim. And I'm going to keep this, I'm going to modify this. So this is basically saying if I get into the option, let's look at this real quick. So I get into this 16 call, and if the stock moves up by $2, well, we know that's not the case. So I'm going to tighten this up a little bit and say if it only goes up. Now, the other thing I can do is by level. So I had that 1750 in by change. So let's do that. If it goes greater than 1750, I want to roll up to the 1750s. So I'm going to roll up to, I'll roll up to the 1750s, just like that, right? I'm going to do that as a quick, and I'm going to hit confirm. And then I'm going to use the next one. If it gets up to, let's say, let's use another dollar. Let's say we go up by another dollar on this one. So we'll go up, use stock value greater than, and we'll say 1850. And I can exit that trade right in there. I'm going to do that on a quick as well and hit confirm. So now I have a position that I can get in and get out of these things really, really quick. And if it moves up, I'm going to lock my profits in because I don't think it's going to keep running. I would have to see a little bit more. If I see it really strong by the end of the day and maybe not through my levels, I may go back and adjust these. So I do that on a regular basis. Well, if I feel confident that maybe I'm in this position and it hasn't gotten to me to exit yet, maybe I'd adjust this by the end of the day tomorrow so that I give myself a little bit more room, or add that I'm not going to exit. Maybe I want to continue to stay in the trade and I'll just make this a roll and then add another trade for an exit for the following day. So hopefully that helps. Any others?
Yeah, that was perfect, Ryan. Thank you. Jim was asking about another stock. Pins has earnings November 4th, had a 10% drop last earnings. So do you see anything in PINS? What's that, Pinterest?
Yeah, Pins has been a bit of an anomaly. It's kind of done well in the market where we haven't really fallen off. You know, we did fall off, and this was more driven, right? Obviously, you start to look at, you know, this downtrend and how ugly that was. So I like that it's made the slightly higher low, right? In terms of moving this back up. I like this action in here that's made the higher low. Right now, I think I'd want to see it maybe get back up a little bit more though, right? Back up through the highs here. So I would probably put another kind of a level to say, all right, you know, you can see we're kind of married up with these levels back in here. So this would give me kind of an ascending triangle, breakout confirmation that's going to continue to go up. So the high here on this one would be 34.25. My next couple of horizontal levels, let's see, where's my, nope, wrong one. Horizontal levels, let's see, there we go. For this one, I'd probably aim for something like right about there. Bottom of this area looks very interesting. So I see the bottom of this area acting as resistance. You got some resistance over in here. Then I'd probably try to aim. You could use the high there, or you could kind of use these closes over in here. So that gives you a couple levels, 30. So if we break through this high here, which is what I said, 34.25, play for 36.25, 37.57, and then 39.06 be my next couple levels on that one. So again, I'd use probably my levels on this just to show you, again, adding, and we can do that. I'll just do a, let's do a position. Let's just do a entry bot. We'll do that same thing. So entry bot on pins, and I'll say if it goes above that 34.25, and again, this is just showing you quickly to add. I'm going to go buy 34s on that one. We'll do that quick and create. And then I'm going to go in and do, let's see, 3 rolls, asset. So I want to do, you know what, let's just do this. I'm going to create my own just to show you how fast you can do this. So if I do that stock value, I think our first level was 35, I want to say 25. And all I want to do is roll. I'm going to roll up, same expiration, and I'm going to stay, I'll go up to the 30. Let's see, let's do a specific strike. We can go, let's go 35.50, slightly out of the monies on this one. Then I'll do that as a quick and hit create. Now I have one in here. I could go create a stop with that. So this is my one if I get into the position here. If I want to add another one, all I have to do is do that. I think I said stock value greater than 37. So 37 on that. I'm going to do another roll. I'll stay in the same expiration, or if I think I'm going to have to roll out, I can always roll out for more time. I'll go to the specific strike, and I'll go up to the 37s. Whoops, 37s there. I'll do a quick exit on that and do. So what this is giving me, which I haven't really talked about much, because I have this, I'm doing the exact same type of trade. This is giving me a gap override. So if I were to gap up tomorrow, this would go to my highest strike. So it would have to gap up over my strike, and I would roll to the highest one. So this is something I think you always want to activate and click create. So that's going to happen with this. Again, another powerful thing that I think probably the second most powerful thing that we've created in here to be able to do that. And create, come on, a little bit of lag in my system here. Come on, come on, come on. All right, so we'll take that off. Maybe that's causing a problem. All right, let's try canceling that. Let's do this again. Gap override, all right. Well, now I got the bots there. All right, so it duped it up. That was the problem. So cancel the one. Confirm. There we go. So now we're set back up. Now I can add another one on if I wanted to and say make this my exit. So stock value, let's say greater than 38. I think it was 50. I'm just guessing here now. So let's just say I'm going to exit this trade, and then I'm going to click quick, and I'm going to do confirm, create. Okay, so all 3 of those, you can see they're in there using those levels. I have the 35.25 greater than. I'm going to roll up to the 35.50s. If I go up above 37, I'm going to roll to the 37s. And if I go up above 38.50, I'm going to get out of the trades completely. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. Now I can add stops in along the way. All I do is click plus and add a stop in. But you can see the speed it takes you to set up a trade versus using a template. I love using a template, so I'm ready to go and I have something in place, especially if I want to be using stops on some type of a trade like that. All right, any other questions?
No, that was it, my friend. And we're right up against the hour. So thanks for bringing this to the Chameleon community and everyone who's joining for the first time. Can you just explain, we may have there are quite a few people in the chat who may be here for the first time. Will you let them know a little bit about OptionsRobot, how you sign up for it, what brokerage firms it actually links to?
Yeah, right now we're connected to Schwab, Tradier, and Alpaca. We are working on connecting to several of the big players. To sign up, just go to OptionsRobot.com. There's a 14-day free trial. Just basically come in, check it out. For anybody that is actively or wants to subscribe, you can use the coupon code October, and that'll give you 50% off. So I would use that if you are going to subscribe. I would use the annual package that we have, because it's a one-time coupon, and that will give you, if you are going to stay and you can still do the trial and test it out, if you like it, that's going to give you a coupon for the entire year versus just 1 month. So yeah, use the coupon code there, October. Just, you just got to type it in, no capitals, just October, and it'll give you a 50% discount, and you still get the free trial as well.
All right, perfect. So everyone take advantage of that offer from Ryan and OptionsRobot. With that, Ryan, thank you so much. You have a great trading day tomorrow and a great week, and we will see you next Monday. Thanks, my friend.
I appreciate it. Have a good one. Thank you.
All right, have a great day, buddy. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining the After Hours show with Ryan and OptionsRobot. I hope you found everything useful. It is really a great product. You can't beat the October offer, so give that a try. If you're here for the first time, make sure you go to Market Chameleon and check out Market Chameleon's product, which Dimitri and I are passionate about and have worked very hard on. So let me share that screen with you so you can see it. But we have a free offer there, 7-day free trial. Just click on start your free trial and you get 7 free days to try all the Market Chameleon tools that are available. It's a real great product too. So give that a try. Again, thank you for joining. Remember, we have a morning show every morning live at 9 a.m. With Dimitri on the Market Chameleon YouTube channel. Come on over to that. And there's also over 1,000 webinars that you can go back and check out. So everyone have a great, safe evening and a wonderful trading day tomorrow. We'll see you hopefully at 9 a.m. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.